Reddit Martian back with another tip-top video for you. r/AskReddit. Police officers of Reddit. What's the craziest situation you've been in? Showed up to a call once about a baby crying non-stop for hours and no sign of an adult being home. We went into the house and I followed the sound of the crying baby upstairs to find an 18-month-old with her arms duct taped to her crib. I undid the duct tape and it was obvious this was not the first time it had happened. I brought the child downstairs and outside. The mom was walking up the sidewalk of the housing unit and flipped shirt on me. I handed the child off to a patrol and cuffed her. It was the most satisfying clicking of handcuffs I had ever heard. Edit. This happened when I was in the army as an MP. The father of the child was deployed at the time. From what I heard, he was granted permission to return home and take custody of the child. They got a divorce and I believe he won custody. I don't know what happened to her as far as a sentencing or jail time. Definitely the time that an older, mentally ill woman tried to burn her house down because she believed that was the only way to disarm the atom bomb in her attic. I got her to walk with me to my car and get in the back by telling her it was the only place she'd be safe. When I got in and started driving, she started yelling that I couldn't take her to jail because she hadn't done anything wrong. I calmly informed her that we were going to the hospital, which prompted even louder yelling of, "I'm not crazy," I replied. "I don't think you're crazy," she screamed. "Then why are you taking me to the hospital?" I told her. "Well, you were next to that atom bomb, right? We gotta get you checked for radiation poisoning." Her eyes got wide and she said, "Oh shit, I didn't think about that. You better hurry." Edit. I can't believe with all the attention this got, no one pointed out that I had ABC's driving instead of and driving. Swipe plus posting when tired is a dangerous combo. Attended a structural fire in a downtown high-rise. Was tasked with evacuating local residents in case the building collapsed. Third house I went to, the guy answers in a full bunny suit with gas mask propped up in his head. English wasn't his first language, and as I was trying to communicate that he needed to evacuate, it became clear he was running a meth lab inside. Arrested Asian Walter White, and then had to sit in the shadow of the structure fire keeping eyes on the house while waiting for clear, clandestine lab team to show up. In that time fire trucks basically surrounded my vehicle so I couldn't move it, even after clear team moved in. Walter had his lawyer call in my PC, and it was about 10 hours before we could head back to cells. I've never had to piss so badly in my life. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Edit 2. I've been requested to remove this clarificatory edit to enhance narrative enjoyment. It can still confound in the comments if you are confused. Did a stop on a pretty obvious dope car. Driver is tweaking on meth. Passenger also tweaking and is a female that weighs 95 pounds while being 5 feet 8 or so. She looked like a concentration camp victim. She's offering to provide oral services in exchange for her release. Obviously I decline. Guy in the back appears to be asleep. I get his id from the tweaking driver as my backup arrives. We get all three out. I can see needles all over the car. The guy in the back wakes up and gets out. Dispatch gives us returns, letting us know the back passenger is as a parole violation. He was released early from prison IYDK for felon in possession of a firearm. The dispatcher was supposed to warn us before giving the return out loud over the radio but didn't in this case. Old dude stands up and reaches in his waistband. I see this happening in slow motion and realize it's about to get real. My partner swings from around the other side of the vehicle where he was talking to one of the other suspects. I start to yell gun in time for my partner to straight up linebacker this dude, which we got into cuffs. Had a .45 in the waistband. I went home and hugged my son, who was 1 at the time. Edit. Was out at a family function. I am about to start replying to all the messages. Thank you. Dad tells the story of a guy he knew who kept getting caught for writing bad checks. He was such a big guy he wouldn't fit in the police car, so they would just meet him at the magistrate office and write him tickets. I know, some trust. But a year or so after this kept happening. He got a call that there was a domestic dispute at the house. So they rush over there and he's got an axe in his hand sitting on the front porch all bloody. They approach and tell him to put the axe down, which he doesn't, proceeded to tell them that his wife is in the bathtub. Or at least her head is. But guy was completely open and cooperative. Didn't run or anything. Asked if he could meet them at the magistrate office and dad was like, yeah nah dog, you're gonna have to get in the car this time. Edit. Thanks for the award, kind stranger. Responded with my partner to a welfare check on an elderly gentleman. Knocked on the door. Walked in and couldn't find him. Went to his garage and found him sound asleep behind the wheel. He tried to commit seppuku by asphyxiation. Thing is, he only had a small amount of fuel and it was a new Civic. He was pissed when he woke up that I wasn't St. Peter. My dad friend who is a cop in NC told me that some teen tried to steal an electric shopping cart from Target with a duck ton of shirt in it and tried to outrun the cops, but the cart only went 5 miles per hour for like 25 meters, then the battery died. The cop just asked him to push the cart back since it died and return the stolen items. First time my brother arrested someone was really funny. He and his training officer were working the graveyard shift and got a call for suspicious activity at a house. They arrive and the homeowner says there is someone sneaking around his house that shouldn't be there. So they start looking around with their flashlights. Grass is really overgrown in the backyard and my brother noticed one of those Fisher-Price kids car, yellow and red plastic car, moving on its own. They found their guy, naked and high AF, trying to hide under the kid's toy and crawl away. Training officer says, well, he's yours rookie. Had my brother cuff him. Guy didn't want to go to jail and put up a naked fight and take the guy to jail. Not a cop, but a cop friend of mine in SC Washington, DC. He got a domestic disturbance call and arrived to a calm scene. The husband explained he and his wife had been arguing and that she had gone over the top, but they were both fine now. The wife confirmed the story, but stated she didn't want the husband back in the house that night. My friend asked if the husband had a place to go, and he agreed to go to his mother's house for the night. The husband left, then my friend and his partner left soon after. About an hour later, they get a call back to the same house. When they get there, the husband is in the kitchen dead. The wife explains that right after the police left, her husband came back and resumed arguing with her. He got in her face and she stabbed him in the neck with a chicken bone, hitting his carotid artery. While serving in South Korea, my team was on patrol in the local drinking village when we heard someone drunkenly singing the US national anthem. At a loss for where this individual was, we finally looked up and there he was. Tightrope walking on the ledge of a building 3 stories up. This is when precision of language is of vital importance, especially when dealing with a drunk. The sergeant on scene said, "Hey, come down here," the drunkard said, "on my way," and proceeded to step off. Under the impression I was about to witness my first death, I was in shock. Through some bit of weird luck science, he glanced the hood off a slightly misted Daewoo truck and slid down to the ground. We ran over to him and he said, "Hey guys, how's it going?" He had open fractures on both femurs and after some makeshift splinting and controlling the bleeding, he was transported to the nearest hospital. Soju is a hell of a thing. I knew this kid in high school who got pulled over for a minor traffic violation. He decides it would be funny to jump out of the car and book it down the street. The cops of course go chasing after him and after a couple of blocks he stops, turns around with his hands in the air, and yells, "Psych!" The cops didn't find it as funny as he did and they tackled him to ground and put him under arrest. I just can't imagine how crazy that must have been for the cops having someone flee like that and then turn around suddenly. This was before smartphones and YouTube pranksters, so the kid was just doing it because he was an idiot. He came from a wealthy family though and didn't even end up in that much trouble for it. A guy on a sports team I play in is a drug squad cop and told us the following story. They had staked out a meth lab house for a while and surveilled the house with pinhole cameras for some time. They'd noticed that the occupants were becoming increasingly erratic. Someone senior suggested it was due to them not replacing the filters in their protective masks. Anyway, at some stage they decided it's time to go in, so tactical enter and grab all the guys and clear the rooms. Then a chemical team go in to make sure everything is safe. Eventually my mate and his team go in to collect evidence with a few young uniforms to help. The house is a bit of a shambles but nothing too unexpected. Until one of the uniforms picks up a large rubber dildo and starts playing around with it in front of everybody. The senior then tells him, "You know that while reviewing all the footage on this place we never saw any women entering or leaving this house. And why are you the only one not wearing gloves?" Former PO. I'll try not to make this long. Early morning, about 1 hour before I had to end my shift, dispatch said to go lights and sirens to an address. A pit bull was actively mauling an elderly woman. I get there and the woman is practically hanging on to life. Blood all over the home. I tased the dog twice before it responded. A canine unit had a muzzle and a strong leash. Dog was eventually put down. Woman survived. Second situation was an active shooter with officer down. It was a real ducking show. Dude was off his rocker. Shot at a fellow officer. This officer ended up retiring after this, but I and many others thought he was dead. Third situation. I respond to domestic violence call. Shootout with husband. He shoots me 3x and all 3 hit my vest. This was about 6 months after the second situation. I ended my police career after this. Not a cop. My dad was backing up a situation where guy allegedly was shooting up on the street. When he came over, guy was arguing with the officer on scene. Definitely not being aggressive in any way, or suspicious though. Long story short, the other 2 officers on scene got aggressive with him and grabbed him and slammed him multiple times into a car parked on the street and he had to get 67 stitches. My dad told the chief and ended up having to quit since everyone was pissed at him for doing so. Do you know what you are? That's right, you're a champ. Thanks for watching. Like and share if you enjoyed, don't forget the bell. Subscribe for more videos. See you soon, Martians.